Welcome to Post Game Podcast. I'm your host, June. I got my boy B Foster. Before we get into this show, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube and follow us anywhere you can listen to a podcast. You can find this podcast along with our other material for this for the Pistons basketball podcast. Just type in Post Game Podcast FFSN in your search. Make sure you're following us. Make sure that alert or notification bell is on, so when we drop content, you'll get an alert. Download those episodes. And Foster, it's been a long time coming, but guess what? We are previewing playoff game number 1 for the Pistons. Not a play-in game. This is not a 10th or 9th spot. This is not even a 7 or 8. We don't have to play any extra. We are in the playoffs, and it's been a long time coming. How you feeling, Foss?
Hey. Change gone. Oh, there's an echo. Never mind, it's gone. But yeah, change has come. And we got some bonus basketball, I guess we can call it.
Finally. I mean, I don't care. Okay, I'm gonna be real. I don't care if it's 4 extra games. I don't want to get swept, but we're here. In just a year, we are here. We are here from disaster from last year. 14-68 to the 6th seed versus the Knicks. And we got a lot of the Knicks fan base kind of worried about this series. So it's not like we're happy to be here. It's more to it than that. I think the Pistons have a legitimate chance to go to the next round. There's some things they got to take care of some business, though. They can't go up there 0-2. They got to split one of these 2 games, but we're gonna get into that. Let's talk about game 1. I think the last time the Pistons played the Knicks, they had a couple starters out.
Mm-hmm.
Those starters are gonna play Saturday. They're gonna be at full strength. We'll be at full strength. And I've watched so many shows. What's the guy's name? There's Colin Cowherd. He asked a question, Foster. Will the Pistons get more technicals than they will wins in the series?
Was it ejections or?
He might have said ejections, because technicals, it's not a lot of, you can get 4 techs in the series. That's 1 tech. If you get swept, that's 1 tech a game. That's nothing. So he had to say ejection.
Us anyways,
yeah. So he had to say ejection. The Pistons will get more ejections than wins. I doubt that. I also heard a take that the Pistons don't have any playoff experience. Now, when they said that, I said, hold on. Tobias has playoff experience. Schroeder has playoff experience. Malik Beasley has playoff experience.
Hardaway
has playoff experience.
Paul Reed
has playoff.
I don't know how much he played, but
it's still the atmosphere of playoffs, right? Because they say playoffs is a different animal. I won't argue with that. But the thing is, we have a good mix of playoff people with experience and the young gunners that just gonna go out and play, and just like, without, because sometimes Isaiah Thomas said, sometimes when it comes to these things, ignorance is bliss. Like, if you're not nervous, if it's just a basketball game to you, and you go out there and you just play, like, that's a win. You know what I'm saying? Mentally. You know what I'm saying? So I think we have a good mix of veterans with the experience on the team. along with the young people that just say, okay, that's going to be excited to play and just going to go out there and just put their best foot forward. So I don't want to say playoff experience is I don't want to downplay it, but I don't want to make it seem like they can't win because the starters don't have a lot of playoff experience. That's not going to be the reason why. That's not going to determine this series. What's going to determine this series for Detroit is turnovers. I think if we can control turning the ball over and force turnovers, we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine. As far as scoring, pace is everything. If we're forcing turnovers, we're running. And that's what we do. When we have to get into the half court offense a lot, they slow the game down. Knicks may have an edge. They got the floor generals. They got the proven score with Cat. They have very good role players that do their part. We want to speed this game up, Foster. We want to get up and down the court. And I think the more you do that with Tibbs, he's only going to play 6 or 7. So the more you do that, the more you're running, you wear those Knicks out. And what's your take, Foster? What does it take for the Pistons to win this series?
For me, it's going to be staying out of foul trouble. The Knicks have 2 guys in the starting lineup that like to get to the line. Jalen Brunson is certainly a foul merchant. He's in the top 5 as far as free throw attempts. And Towns is just outside of the top 10 as far as that's concerned. But we got a lot of guys. We play a hard-nosed defense, but we have committed the 4th most fouls in all of the NBA. Guys like Asar Thompson, who I'm thinking is going to be tasked with guarding Jalen Brunson. I think they're going to want to put some height on him. We got guys like Jalen Duren, who have been accustomed to getting in foul trouble, as well as Cade. Cade is a guy that has been known to get in foul trouble, and we can ill afford to have those guys. I mean, I think Stewart is a fine, is a fine replacement in some extent, but we're going to need Jalen Duren to attack in the paint and keep Towns on his heels, so he can ill afford to be out for a lot of time. So yeah, I think that forcing them to get into their bench, and I'm all for us utilizing more of our rotation, because Malik Beasley is essentially our is one of our best offensive weapons. So I think he's definitely going to get some playing time. I think Schroeder's going to get some playing time. And of course, we're going to need Stu in there to exert his physicality and defense. But we can ill afford to be forced into utilizing our bench more than we want to, because we do know, like they said on the show on Monday, or I think it was Tuesday this week, that the rotations are shorter. You are going to utilize your starters more than usual because you're emptying out the tank. You're playing for like there's no tomorrow. So
right.
You want to be able to utilize your depth to your liking, as opposed to being forced into that. So yeah, being asserting your physicality, but not to the extent that it's putting you into bad situations.
They looked at you kind of funny when you said 9 deep in the situation. Yeah. And if you look at it, Foster, 5 people play. You have 5 starters. You still got Beasley. That's 6.
Gotta see Beasley.
You gotta see Stewart. That's 7. And you're going to see Schroeder. That's 8. 9 is not that far-fetched.
Right.
Because you got Fontecchio on the bench still, and you could possibly see Sasser.
I was going to say Holland before Sasser. I think there are
I
scenarios.
forgot about Holland. Nine is not far fetched.
Yeah, and I do believe that you utilize them because you see long gaps of time where you'll see a Holland out there, especially if he's got the hot hand over a SAR or something like that. But it will be shortened because it's not about, oh, we need to rest up for the playoffs or rest up our, keep him, prevent injury. Like it's all or nothing. You got
Holland
nothing.
can earn more minutes. It just depends on how he starts.
Yes.
If he gets in the game, does play some defense, get a couple steals, gets a couple of buckets early, and gets pumped up, he's going to earn minutes. You're going to see him in the mix, and you cannot deny Schroeder, Beasley, or Stewart.
Right, and I think that our situation is a little different. Everybody talks about who is your second man, who is your two-headed monster. Our situation is more by committee. You might see games where Asar Thompson is really aggressive and getting active. You're going to see games where Jalen Duren is, aggressive and active. It just kind of depends. We don't have like they've been asking us all year, who is your number two? And for part of the season, I said, oh, Tobias, and it sounded so crazy, but for part of the season, Tobias was that second guy.
They take turns. They take turns.
They take turns. Hardaway had a nice string of.
He had a nice run.
But you don't want to lean on that. And that's why they can say Brunson Towns. They can say without a shadow of a doubt, without even thinking twice about it. But this team is not your conventional run-of-the-mill team. This is a team that the national media has embraced as a kind of a old school team that plays tough defense, is physical. Mm-hmm. That's not like your Luka, LeBron, or your Jamal Murray and Jokic and et cetera, et cetera. We're a little bit different, but as we know, the game slows down, which doesn't really play too much, as much into our philosophy, but the physicality and the really locking in on defense, that portion of it is exactly aligned with what we embrace. So we're definitely going to lean on that.
Well, and I don't see it necessarily as a bad thing when you have a 1 and you have a number 2 by committee. Because if you have like a 1 and 2, right? And let's say it's penciled in, this is your 1 and 2. And let's say one of those persons on your team is having an off night. You know what I'm saying? It would be kind of awkward for them to lean to someone else when you have anybody else on your team, when you have a 1 and that 2 person is played by committee. You don't have to say, okay, number 2 ain't it. What are we gonna do? Because you'll have somebody else that are filling that void. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. And we had some fans that we talked with that said, you don't have a top 2 scorers like we do, and they get sent home. That doesn't mean anything. You have look. Give me the team ball, because I think the playoffs is about winning on the road. Successful playoffs is about winning on the road and having those players step up. You know what I'm saying? Players that didn't, that you didn't think could contribute or have contribute, step up and play better in the playoffs than they have. And I'll give you an example. Josh Hart. That 1 year. I don't know if it was last year or the year before last, but one of them years he played out of his mind in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I think that was last year, but they got hurt.
Yeah, everybody was Brunson. Randall never came back. Yeah, they had a lot of.
Josh Hart played his heart out, and it was like, this guy is really having a good playoffs, and that's what it's about. It's about those players that you don't expect step up and have contributions. And I think the Timberwolves experienced that right before they played Dallas in the conference finals, where uh, McDaniels played excellent versus Denver. He was hitting threes. He was playing defense. He was having the series of his life versus Denver last year, and they eliminated Denver. It wasn't just Anthony Edwards and his number two. It was and Cat. It was McDaniel stepping up in that. You know what I'm saying? Now they lost to Dallas, but still, Dallas was playing some inspired basketball in that conference final. They just fell short versus Boston. But the playoffs is a different scenario, and that gives the people on your team a chance to actually step up and show, hey, I can play too. So let's take a quick break, Foster. Before, if you're listening, you're going to hear some wonderful ads. If you are just simply watching, give us about 10 seconds. Man, I can't even remember. I know they say the years, but I can't in my mind. I can't even remember the last time the Pistons won a playoff game, let alone a series. Like we were going to them at a crazy clip. From 2003 all the way until I think 2008, 2009, maybe.
Yeah, eight is the last time we won a series.
So it was like, and you look up now, that was 17 years ago.
Trust me, I know exactly where I was in 08. That's
where were you in 08, Foster?
I was in college.
Okay.
Yeah, if it was 8, I was in community college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because if you was gonna say, where you were, where you graduated from,
I was in the cradle. No,
I was gonna say congratulations to the Western Michigan for winning the hockey the hockey championship, but you weren't there then, so
I wasn't quite there.
I won't say it then.
I went
to Eastern.
I think was it that fall that I was my first semester. I graduated in 07, so
okay. So I won't give your Western Michigan any kind of kudos. I went to Eastern, so we don't do that over here. So it is what it is, man. I was shocked though for them to win the championship. I'm like, Western? Wow, that's crazy.
It's been bubbling for the last couple of years, but yeah.
Well, one thing about college hockey, you don't have to be a big prolific school to win, because there's been really small schools that have won at that level, and it's crazy. I think Maine won at one point, University of Maine or some stuff a couple of years ago. I don't know.
Yeah, because hockey is a very niche. Like Denver's really good, and they don't have a basketball team or football team. There's a lot of Michigan, of course, because Michigan is such a pop. They got Northern. Was it Northern?
Northern had won it one year not too long ago.
Yeah, in Lake Superior State or whatever. But yeah,
they're always good. Yeah.
What's Cheatham doing in here?
When you see that adverb in parentheses, when a person doesn't use emoji, it's Cheatham. That's what it is. What's up, Cheatham? Thanks for tuning in, man. I wish the rest of the gang would tune in. It would be nice, but I appreciate you being here, man. Shout out to my boy, DeJuan Cheatham, ABCD Battle Rap League. If you're watching or listening, subscribe to that channel on YouTube. He has some good. If you're into battle rap, go check it out. And they also do a podcast over there every blue moon. And but check them out though.
Pause.
Hey yo. Anyway, Foss, how you calling this series, man? Is there anything? Wait, before you do that, is there anything that you need? What do you need to see to be confident that the Pistons will win this series? What do you need to see from the Pistons?
Well, so there's a lot of unknown in this. Yes, we do have some we do have some vets that have some playoff experience, but we can't we can't with certainty say that a lot of our younger players, such as a Cade, a Dern, a Stewart, a Sarr, we can't say how they are going to react. Certainly early on, when in the first game of the year, you're going to be in Madison Square Garden, the mecca, they say, of basketball. You're going to have crazy butterflies. Even guys like Ron Holland. I mean, I feel like it's a different feeling when you get into a place like that and you're talking about your first playoff game. So it's going to be a feeling out process early on. So yeah, we got a lot of key guys that don't have a lot of experience. So I need to see where we're at. But outside of that, I need to see guys like Duran. We kind of know what we have to expect as far as like a Cade, a Malik, hopefully. But I feel like guys like Duran and Asar Thompson are going to be major X factors in the series, because I mean they play prominent roles. Thompson is our best defender, and Duran is going up against debatably one of the better players in the entire in the series. And we don't know Towns is not known for his interior defense. So if he can put some pressure on him and force him to play some defense, I think that can be a major factor, because they're going to lean heavily on Towns and Brunson. That's their 1-2 punch. Those guys play a lot of minutes. Well, not as many minutes as Mikal Bridges and Anunoby and Josh Hart, but those are their two all-stars at the end of the day. So if they can put some pressure on guys like Towns, because Towns doesn't have a prominent playoff, that's kind of the reason why they traded him, is because they felt that he wasn't going to be able to take them to the next level and that they needed to do some retooling. So, Towns doesn't have a colorful playoff resume to speak of. So, yeah, guys like Duran and Thompson can definitely be X factors in the series.
Cheetah made a point, and I'm gonna post it because it ties along with what I have to say, what I need to see from the Pistons. He said a strong first game, right? And I agree wholeheartedly. Whether you win or lose it, I need a strong first game. They definitely need to split one of these games to have a chance. They can't come back here 0-2. I know Little Caesars Arena is going to be rocking on Thursday. It's going to be rocking, and that's draft night as well. But Little Caesars Arena, yes.
That's what you were trying to say earlier.
Yes. Yeah. Little Caesars Arena is going to be rocking, and if you split one of those games, you give yourself a chance. Playoffs is about winning, stealing one on the road, right, and defending home. So they split one, and I need to see a calm with the players. I don't want to see early texts. I don't want to see frustration. I need to see those guys playing through it. I need to see those guys running and defending. There's a lot of things I need to see within these first two games that's going to have me confident. Now, are the Pistons supposed to win this series? Now, if you look at the odds, 3 versus 6, you're playing a Knicks team that have 2 top-tier players. And they're barely trying to give Cade the look at top tier. I think it's undeniable though. But they may have a better roster. They may have a better basketball roster than we do. They definitely got more playoff experience. I do not expect I'm gonna roll with my team. I'm gonna predict the Pistons will win, but I'm not gonna be upset unless they get swept and look like they don't belong. You can't get blown out 4 games.
Yeah, so this is a team. What I will say is the pressure is on the Knicks. The Knicks have been here. The core of this team has been there before, or in some shape or form. Obviously, Towns wasn't with New York, but he's been to the playoffs before. Brunson has been with this team. Bridges has been to the finals. Josh Hart, was with this team last year. There's no excuses for a guy like Tom Thibodeau, who's been coaching for a long time, and he's been with the Knicks for a while. The Pistons essentially are playing with house money. They are, they don't really have much to lose in this situation. Thibodeau could possibly lose his job if things don't go right in this first series. So the pressure is definitely on them right now. And if they go down in the series in any shape or form, not even if the Pistons can get off to a good start, that's going to put the Knicks back square against the wall and in not a good place. So yeah, if we can out the gate split the series. First of all, we know that mathematically, if the road team is able to split, they now have home court advantage in the situation because they've already taken one, away from the crib. So we can definitely do a lot by stealing one of those games, but it's not going to be easy.
It's not going to be easy.
And this is a 50-win team. As rattled as the fan base feels, this is a 50-win team.
We were almost there.
How many we get to?
I think 44.
Okay, yeah, not that close, but
it's close enough.
Yeah, I mean, way closer than we thought we would be.
Yeah,
but
30 game turnaround.
Right. So this is a healthy team. They don't have any injuries within their rotation.
Mm-hmm.
And
they had some rest. They've had some rest. They rested a few of their players.
Yeah, Brunson's been out for the last 2 weeks. He just had a couple tune-up games, since in the last couple of days. But they rested some, Josh Hart, and like you said, Josh Hart,
Adenabi, OG, they rested him.
Yeah, of course, Mikal Bridges does not miss any games because he hasn't missed. He literally has not missed a game his entire career. So and what's crazy is that this guy is a tops. Not only is he doesn't miss games, he's a tops minutes guys. So he still plays a ton of minutes in all the games he's played. So but
Cheating from anybody can die says, I do believe the longer the series, the better our chances. And when I say anybody can die, that's a battle rap league if you're listening.
And it says, if you're listening,
can die battle rap league. Cheatham says, the longer the series, the better our chances. Yeah, I think so. The way that Tibbs run his rotations, and with our style of play, we just got to wear them down. I think we can wear them down but it starts with, stealing a game in Madison Square Garden. MSU Detroit fan says, Ivy returning in this series. I doubt it.
Yeah, I saw some footage of him in practice, and he was doing some resistance running, which is.
It doesn't look like the stuff I said. He was playing. I don't want to say gingerly, but cautiously.
Was he playing? Was he going against somebody?
No.
Okay, yeah.
Just shooting around.
Yeah.
And kind of like running around. I don't think he's ready.
No.
Right yet. And I think you would see Ivy if this series goes 7 games.
You think you'll see him in this series? If it's
and the Pistons advance to the next series.
Okay. A longer, more games in front of it. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You could possibly see him. But at the same time, I think with what he has to bring to the table won't be enough to make a difference.
No, it's like I said, back when he was cleared when he was out of a boot and he was clear for basketball, it's going to be more of a morale. Like, can you imagine him game 6 we would have, or not the first set of home games, but like the second set of home games? Can you imagine the crowd when Mason announces him coming off the bench, or because I think he would come off the bench.
And let's say he gets off the bench and he hits his first shot. They're going to go crazy.
Oh my, what? Yeah.
Let me read. I'm going to read this, Foster, and I want you to answer it. MSU Detroit fan says, so are we getting a starting five of Cade, Tobias, Hardaway, Thompson, and Durham, do you think?
Yeah, that's the lineup that got us here.
And Beasley being the sixth man, of course.
Right. Beasley being the sixth man, because even Beasley has only started in games where one of the guards was missing, whether it was Ivy or Cade or Hardaway. Those are the only games that. So they definitely want Beasley coming off the bench, which I'm not mad at. And we'll get to the matchups. We'll get to the matchups, whenever you're ready. But
I'm ready whenever you're ready, man.
Okay. Do we want to take a break, or are we good right now?
We took a break. We good. We took a break. Okay. We keep this thing rolling, man.
All right. So the starting lineup for the Knicks, first and foremost, Brunson at the point, Bridges at the 2, Anunoby at the 3, Josh Hart at the 4, which that's interchangeable.
That's weird, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Anunoby, yeah. Well, it's positionless basketball, because they're gonna
for sure. They're gonna defend who they got their defensive assignments.
Right. So Hart at the 4, and then Towns at the 5. And then the starting lineup, we already said what it's going to be: Cade, Tobias, Hardaway, Thompson, and Durham. So as far as the defensive matchups, I got Asar Thompson playing Brunson. Like I said, I think that putting some length on him and putting our best defender, our best perimeter defender, on their best perimeter player makes the most sense. With the danger being obvious, because I think a lot of our guards are gonna, within the series, you're gonna see Cade on Brunson here and there. You're gonna see Hardaway. I
want to see Beasley on Brunson some.
A little bit,
defense,
yeah. But I think the best defensive assignment in a vacuum would be Asar Thompson. As far as who would guard Mikal Bridges, I put Hardaway there, because Bridges is more of a guy that's mid-range guy. He's not getting to the basket a whole lot, and he's not super elusive. As far as Anunoby, I have Cade on him, because Anunoby, for the most part, he's kind of a spot-up guy. He's a guy that scores in transition, but it takes off the burden of having him guard a Brunson, because Brunson is gonna, Brunson is the primary guy. He's the guy that's gonna have the ball in his hands. So you don't really want Cade to be guarding their best, perimeter guy.
He did that last game. That's an interesting comment by Ray Floyd. Ray Floyd said
that's one of my worries. Yeah.
Brunson will target Asar with flopping. Yes, I saw that the last game they played. He did that.
MSU Detroit fan says Sasser will probably be the 11th guy if we are allowed 11. Yeah, I don't know. If we see Sasser in any form, somebody's getting blown out, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But as far as Cade guarding Anunoby, Tobias Harris guarding Josh Hart, they're both guys that are essentially in real life probably number 3 wings, but they both play undersized power forwards, so that's pretty even there. And then I got Durham on Towns, which I think is another one that might present some problems. Towns is likes to face up. He likes to score downhill, but from the perimeter side of things. So it's going to put some pressure on Durham to be able to guard in some space. So, but of course, we'll probably see Stu out there too to kind of wreak some havoc, because he is one of our better defenders. So that will be our defensive matchups. I think that they switch Brunson off of Thompson and put him on like a Hardaway, but I think no matter who Brunson guards, they'll have the height, they'll have the height advantage and be able to exploit that.
Yeah.
I think they'll put Bridges on. I think they'll put Bridges on Thompson just because he's taller, longer arms. It's a better matchup for him. But that presents an opportunity for Hardaway, who is what 6'5". Was he 6'6"?
Yeah, something like that. 6'5".
Brunson's like 6'1". So there's nobody in our starting lineup that's anywhere near, around
Right.
6 foot. So no matter where you put Brunson, someone's going to have an advantage, height and just physicality wise. So another thing to think about as far as exploiting mismatches.
Oscar's going to have to be really smart defensively because, like I said, he's going to do some pump fakes and just stay in front of him for the most part early.
And when you think of, not to cut your wisdom, when you think of guys behind him, as far as like replacement guys, there's really not anybody else that really matches up well with Brunson. I mean, do you want Holland? Holland follows a lot too.
Yeah.
Beasley, I've seen Beasley on him, but is that really the guy you want on Brunson? Not ideally. MSU Detroit fan. Yeah, if we see Sasser and Waters, oh God, if we see Waters.
If we see Waters, it's over.
Two-way guys totally. Oh man, you're getting real dark. Nah.
You only saw them the last game of the year, man. You're not going to see these guys unless they're up 30 or we're up 30 in the fourth quarter. That's the only way.
Ray Floyd says Schroeder defended Brunson well for stretches. Yeah, one thing about Schroeder is he's a veteran. He's pesky. He doesn't have the size that you would like to see on a guy like Brunson, but he can be sticky at times, though. I'll give him that.
Go left, Schroeder. Sometimes, please.
Well, you can't. Yeah. I mean,
I just thought I'd put it out there.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny how you got professional athletes that are good, have good security of the basketball, but some of them are not good at dribbling with both hands. Kind of wild.
Yeah. One thing I can say about this series, Foster, is lately when Cade plays the Knicks, he's been outstanding. He's had some of his better games versus the Knicks. And I'm not talking, 20 and I'm talking 30 with a triple-double type thing. So I think if Cade can have a successful series, because what they're going to do is they're going to double Cade. They're going to try to trap him. They're going to try to force the ball out of his hands. We have to be ready for it. He gets in a lot of trouble when they trap him, when they double him. So got to be mindful of that. Cheatham says, I like the Schroeder-Brunson matchup. You shouldn't see it that often, but you will see it. You shouldn't see it that often. I think as long as Thompson stays out of foul trouble, you'll see a lot of Oscar Thompson. And one thing you have to be wary about, Thompson not only plays defense, he can get some buckets. If he scores this series, it's going to be trouble. If he can score. Ray Floyd has a quick question, Foster. What do y'all think of Ivy? Do y'all think he's the right guy next to Cade? Oh, this has been an ongoing conversation the past 2 years. And I'm going to let Foster take a crack at it, and then I'll finish up. Foster, what do you think? Do you think that Ivy is the right guy to play alongside Cade?
I would have loved a full year of this year being able to evaluate that. Obviously, that has been a pressing question that we've been trying to figure out. We will not find that out this year. That'll be something that'll be left to figure out moving forward. But I think it has the potential to work. I just think that Ivy needs to expand his game more. I think that he's still most comfortable. I think he's still most comfortable with the ball in his hand. But the potential that I do see is that he did improve his ability to shoot from the outside. I think that if he's consistently able to shoot from the outside, that'll make things better for him. But if he can add something to his game where he's able to, shoot off screens, move without the ball, that'll do wonders for him. But I can't. It's hard for me to say at this point because we only saw such a small sample size. Because Cade was we had coaching issues last year. Cade was hurt his rookie year, and Ivy was hurt this year. So we've never really seen the only large sample size we saw. We didn't have the right coach involved, and he was sitting Ivy for a lot of the time. We saw more Killian Hayes with Cade than anything. So, not to bring up a sore subject, but
do not shoot the messenger. I'm just a messenger in this. I'm not quite sure if he's the right man to play alongside Cade, but I think he's the right man to be on the team. I think he's I don't know if he's willing to settle coming off the bench. I don't know that, but the reason why I say it is because he had ample opportunity to be that man, and he didn't start. Hardaway won that starting position.
Right. He started. So wait, did he start off the bench?
Yes. He never started. It was always Hardaway. Remember that first game me and you watched, and I inboxed you, why is Hardaway starting?
But did Hardaway play the 3 because Asar was out?
It was Hardaway. It was Cade, Asar, Hardaway.
No. Asar had the blood clot early in the year.
Well, it wasn't Ivy, bro. Ivy didn't.
So
play.
Ivy came out. So even now we gave Monty. I almost said Montel. Monty Williams hell about benching Ivy, but JB did the same thing.
We can look at the box.
I'm not sure. I can't say.
But I remember Hardaway starting at the shooting guard. Hardaway was the shooting guard, and I said, I inboxed you and said, why is Hardaway starting? Should be Ivy. I remember having that question. He did not start.
We play in the first game. Do you remember? Damn.
Boy.
For the life of me.
We lost. We had that brutal 10 games. The first 10 games.
Oh, yeah. It was a gauntlet in the first couple.
Yeah.
I got to look at the back.
Was it Cleveland?
No, that wouldn't have been the first game. It could have been.
It was either Cleveland, Boston, or Indiana. It was one of those 3 games.
Right. Indiana was within the first couple. Yeah. Milwaukee was in there. We didn't play a bad team for a long. We were the bad team. Indiana. Ivy did start. Yeah.
MSU Detroit fan says the Pistons don't have a first round pick in this upcoming draft. So it'll be interesting to what Langdon does. We don't have a pick until I think it's 55 or something like that. We don't have a first round pick. And I found that out recently. And
that's because we made the playoffs though, right? Didn't we have to give it away or something like that?
And I will say this. We don't need to get any younger. Let's just face it. This is not a deep draft. I'm not tripping over it, but it is what it is. MSU Detroit fan also says we do have 2 second-round picks, so we can buy our way into a low first. Indiana was the first game, Foster.
Okay.
And he said Ivy did start. I didn't think so. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think, what may have been confusing to you is the fact that Ivy played a decent amount of minutes without Cade because of because they were splitting, they were playing together, but they would stagger them to where the second string point guard was Ivy for when they went to their bench. So maybe that may have been the misconception, but Ray Floyd says, who was it? Oh, we missed. What do you say about Porter? Oh,
Read that one first. And
he said, "Who is our 4 of the future? Is it Porter from the Nuggets? Porter is like, he's tall, but he can't. I don't think he can defend the 4. I don't know why. I mean, I guess I know why they've been having discussions as to possibly trading for him, but he's kind of an injury. He was injury prone early in his career. He had a bad back, and he got a big contract. And of course, the Nuggets are trying to, they're trying to dump salary because they're paying Jokic and Murray a lot of money too. So I don't know. I don't see him being the 4 of the future. He's more of a 3 than a 4, in my opinion, because he's kind of lanky. He's kind of like a Sar Thompson, except not as good a defender.
Right.
Sar is not a 4,
but it's an interesting question, because me and you always said 4 was a position that we need to be fit, that needs to be addressed at some point. That Definitely. 4, and I don't know, man. I saw flashes of Bobby Clinton and Clintman in that last game of the season, and
see, I didn't get a chance. I didn't get it. I think he had some good passes, and I think he scored what, 15 points or something like that. But I didn't get a chance to really.
He scored, but he looked pretty good out there. And when he was drafted, me and Foster was like, hey, he could possibly be our 4 at some point of the future. But the 4 is a position that we said needs to be addressed. We are really, really convinced that Isaiah Stewart is your big man off the bench and not the 4, and Duren is your 5. I tampered with the possibility of playing those 2, but it's not going to work. No. Where Duren starts and Isaiah Stewart starts, that's just not going to work. It's not a good recipe for us.
Try that. Been there, done that.
Yeah. Ray Floyd says Clintman just needs to get stronger, but he plays well. Yeah, I mean, this is the off season. Like, people make their biggest transitions from year 1 to 2, and that'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see. And I'm not dependent upon the draft because, like I said, it's not a good draft with a lot of promising prospects. It's kind of like a weaker draft. I think you have like 4 or 5 good possibilities at the top of the
top heavy, I think.
Yeah. But after that, it kind of, goes downhill. So our best bet is free agency. Michael Porter probably would be a good 4. He'd probably be a better starting 4 than we have with Tobias.
I think in some instances, not defensively.
Not defensively at all. No. Tobias plays really good defense, so I'm not going to hate on Tobias. MSU Detroit fan says Bobby did well with Motor City, so we can see if he can put in the work in the offseason to make the team. I think he'll make the team.
Yeah, I think the only reason why you didn't see more of Bobby Clintman this year is because he had that mysterious hamstring incident that he was out for like 2 months.
He was out for majority.
I was like, is he ever going to play? Like, it was kind of crazy.
MSU Detroit fan says, I need to see who was a free agent this year. One of those free agents I talked about was from the Indiana Pacers. What's the big guy name?
Turner. Is Turner a free agent?
Turner. Yeah. I said, Miles Turner. Is that his name, Miles? I butcher a name in a minute. Miles Turner. I would love to see him in a Pistons uniform. He could be our 4. He could stretch the floor. Block shots. I like him. Gonna cost though. But Indiana can't pay everybody. So and then we do have our own free agents. I think in the offseason we need to, and we're gonna have a really, really detailed show after the playoffs about what we need to address in the offseason. I don't want to get too far into it, but
more fun.
Yeah, we definitely need to re-sign Beasley. It's a couple other people that needs to make sure that they're taken care of, and I think that's what they've been working on. I mean, the Pistons are like the Lions; they want to take care of home first before they go out and spend a bunch of money, and I like that. Keep who you got, and don't look now, Foster. But the Tigers are up 3-0. Just thought I'd put it out there. So,
Yeah. Finally scored a freaking run.
yeah, man. Finally had a lead in 2 games, man. Like, what is going on, man? Get out of Milwaukee and are they playing here?
Yes, we are back in. Actually, I think we have a 10-game road. 10-game home stand. If I'm not.
And they play tomorrow too, right?
Yep.
Tomorrow's gonna be a beautiful game weather for baseball. I think the temperature is supposed to be 78 for tomorrow.
Friday. Yeah. Friday is
Yeah, the high is 78 with no rain in the forecast. It's going to be cloudy, but there's not going to be any rain. It's going to be a beautiful day for baseball. If you're available, go watch the Tigers. Go check them out. MSU Detroit said, yeah, Beasley is the big one, I believe. Yeah, that's the one you gotta resign him.
Priority number 1.
MSU Detroit fan says Torque and Green RBIs make it 3-0 at the end of the third. Beautiful.
And Green has been struggling. That's the hottest.
Torque has been struggling?
No. I said Torque by accident.
Yeah.
Green's been struggling.
Green's been struggling
the
for
hottest.
Sure.
That's the hottest story on the press right now is the fact that he's been struggling.
Red Wings last game of the season tonight. Yeah. And yes.
And we know what last means.
Yeah. And that means they didn't. Nah. Anyway, MSU Detroit fan says yes. 10-game homestand. Kansas City, 4 games, San Diego, and Baltimore.
Those are some fun teams too.
Baltimore's good, right? And San Diego's good.
San Diego's is above.
They're first place after in the same division as the Dodgers.
Correct.
That's crazy. I thought the Dodgers were the end all be all after them first 3 games. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, they'll get it together, but their pitching has been rough.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of put the bat to, we showed our bats.
Yes.
Pause.
Thank you.
Yeah, we scored some runs versus them, and it was just that last game where we wasn't successful. But those first 2 games, we scored. We had a chance to win. Ray Floyd says, "Why won't Brad Holmes do something about this pass rush?" Hey Ray, don't make me. I will end this show and start a lion show. I can go on. I want to fuss. Not. I'm going to. They what's the phrase? Let Brad cook. I'm going to let Brad cook. Because regardless of what I say about the Lions, who they pick up, I never agree with it. I don't agree with the free agency. I don't agree with the draft picks. I did agree with DJ Reed. I did. I was very happy about DJ Reed. But other than that, it's like, why you get him? I want Zadarius Smith back. He hasn't signed with anyone else. Bring him back. That's another topic. We let's Foster put a bow on this so we can get out of
here. Hate to do it, but Cheatham's right, man. Got to get off to a good start. If we can,
I hate to admit when Cheatham's right.
Yeah. If we can steal a game or at least make it competitive, in the first one, I think that'll set a good precedent. It's going to put more pressure on New York, and I think Cheatham said to win the paint, the battle in the paint too. That's another one. They are not that strong inside. They have an undersized Josh Hart at power forward. Karl Anthony Towns has never been known as a rim protector. They do have Mitchell Robinson, but he's normally hurt for 3/4 of the year. So who knows how effective he's going to be in the series. But yeah, winning the battle in the paint, getting them into foul trouble, getting into that bench, which is pretty null and void, will pay a lot of dividends, but we'll just have to see how some of these young guys react to being in the playoffs for the first time. We have some veterans, but Cade brand new to the playoffs. He's been waiting his entire career for this, moment, but brand new to the playoffs, and a bunch of other guys as well.
Usually when Foster puts a bow on it, it's a wrap. But MSU Detroit fan has a question.
Yes.
And I would like to address this. He says, I know you said you don't get into Lions talk, but what's with all this talk about the Lions trading J-Mo? Now, first of all, that's not coming from the organization. That's coming from a beat writer, a very prominent beat writer from Detroit. So a lot of times they get inside scoops. Sometimes they just go off hunches. So we don't know. A lot of times if there's smoke, there's fire. And sometimes it's just, I want to sell my media. A lot of times it's media content. I don't think we're in a position right now to think about trading J-Mo. I don't think we're that far off to where we have to do something crazy and trade J-Mo. For instance, one of the scenarios is that you trade up so you can get a pass rusher and get the pass rusher you want. Well, this draft is full of pass rushers. You know what I'm saying? And we were bad at the pass rush mainly because Hutch was hurt. So I don't think you trade an integral piece to fix that when you can draft at number 28 if you don't do anything else. You can get a pass rusher at 28. Yes, you can. You can address that without having to trade anybody and keep J-Mo. I think this year is the year that you grade J-Mo. You pay attention to what he does this offseason. If he doesn't get any trouble, if he goes into the season and goes crazy, you have to get that man an extension. Now, maybe this was fed to a beat writer to get people to talk offers. You never know. But I think you don't trade J-Mo right now. You don't, because he does have a 5th-year option. MSU Detroit fan says Woodward is being really bad with that J-Mo talk. They got it from a sports beat writer, I believe. Red Wings scored a goal. But yeah, they got it from the same beat writers that we got it from. And they're just, like I said, media content. You know what I'm saying? It's good media. So until something happens, we don't know. I think J-Mo had 1,000-yard receiving last year. You lost your offensive coordinator. You're going to need all your offensive weapons. And I don't think you trade J-Mo and go into the draft and get another wide receiver hoping he can be as good as J-Mo. That's just not a good recipe. So I don't know. We'll see. We're going to get out of here, though. I want to say thank you for everyone that stopped and watched, people that are listening. I want to remind everyone to subscribe to Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube. We are almost at 250 subscribers. If you are subscribed already, go ahead, like, share, comment on any of the material. We have a bunch of stuff up there for you, to check out. We have these shows. We have our player profiles. So if you're not subscribed and you're listening, you are wrong. Subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube and follow us on all the aggregators for your audio fix. That's anywhere you can listen to a podcast. All you have to do is go into those platforms, put Post Game Podcast, FFSN in your search. Make sure that you're following us. Make sure that notification bell is on. So when we drop content, you'll get an alert and download the episode. That helps us know who's listening. So we can address the areas that are not listening, and we can please the ones that are listening. So, Foster, you put a ball on this. Let's get out of here. Go Tigers.